Good morning, everyone. Welcome back for our Tuesday, Thursday coffee date, reading through the book, A Time to Dance, Chasing Joy in Difficult Seasons. I know for you guys seeing this that it's going to pop up backwards, but I'll do what I did last week and I'll drop you the link in the comments so that if you're interested in the book itself, you can go out there and check it out. Today we are reading chapter, I almost grabbed the wrong chapter. Chapter 19, Identifying Your Links. This is a really neat chapter because it talks about kind of the process of healing that God walked me through in my healing season and how it wasn't a sprint, but it was a marathon. And in each place along the way, he taught me something. He let's put it this way, he broke different links in the chain all along the way. In order to get me to where I am today. And he's continuing to work through that. Even today, I just had a conversation last night with a good friend of mine. And she made the comment that sometimes she still struggles to trust and to let go of things and to give it over to God. And I had that exact same thing happen. I was up a few nights ago starting at 4 a.m., which I know some of you guys get up that early. Normally, I don't. I was up that early because I was really struggling with something and I was having a really hard time giving it to God and just trusting him in that space. So, he's still working on things in my life. He's still working on things in your life. And I'm just so grateful that he's such a grace-filled God. But I had a wonderful weekend. My family came up to visit, which was amazing. My son had a basketball game. This is his first season playing basketball, and he made his first shot, which was super exciting. So we are still down here in the South. We are still a bit frozen in. Good morning. Good morning. We are still a bit frozen in. In fact, I had to put a bin at the end of the driveway with Amazon on it. Just because we still have enough ice on our driveway that, delivery drivers don't want to drive up it. So I am about ready for all this to thaw so that we can get out, do some walks, enjoy some sunshine. And I think my poor livestock down there is as well. They are pretty ready to run around in the sunshine. So the chapter that we're reading today is pretty short. It won't take us very long to get through it. But I think it's a really great chapter and I'm excited to share it with you. Again, I just wanted to say, actually, first of all, let me ask this. If you have something really fun, a blessing, a beautiful thing that happened to you this weekend, will you share it with me in the comments? Because I would really love to just hear about everybody's weekend and, the little God kisses and the little blessings that came your way. But I also want to share, if you are new to this series and you're trying to catch up, you can go out on my YouTube channel, which is Shannon Singh Ministries, and I have been uploading these lives, so you can actually start with chapter 1. I'm reading through the entire book, so if you want to order a copy of the book to read along with watching the videos with commentary, you could do that by checking the link in the comments. But you don't have to do that because I am reading through the entire book. So you can go out to my YouTube channel, Shannon Singh Ministries. You can start with chapter 1 and you can read all the way through with us right here through video. Unfortunately, Facebook only keeps these lives for I think like 30 days. So Facebook will end up deleting them out, but YouTube will have them. So go out there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, guys, so let's dive into chapter 19, Identifying Your Links. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and to accomplish all this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination." Now, when it comes to healing, I'm just going to pause there for a second because when it comes to healing, we hang on, we grab the first part of that verse. Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this because we're walking through healing. But then you come to this place with God where he begins to plant dreams in your spirit, right? And when he plants dreams in your spirit, God never plants dreams in your spirit that man can accomplish, that man can go, yeah, I did that. God plants dreams in your spirit that are beyond our grasp, beyond our imagination, beyond our ability to sometimes even believe in, right? But because we know it's a God dream, we can anchor our faith to it. And we will only create space in our lives for what we are willing to step into with faith, because we have to co-labor with God towards these dreams. So when God gives you a big dream, when he gives you something and he says, go for it, run with me, I've got you. Remember the second part of this verse. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. Because God works in the wild dreams, the big imagination. God works in the unbelievable and the miraculous. So if God plants a dream in your heart, don't be afraid to chase it. Don't be afraid to run after it, because it may not all lay out the way you think, but he's going to walk you through it and to it. Okay, I made a trip to our local grocery store recently just to grab a few things. Since school was out for the summer, the store was full of little kids tagging along with their mom and dad, venturing up and down the aisles with true childlike enthusiasm. Two little girls in particular caught my attention that day. They were holding hands, hopping along, and loudly sharing big stories with each other, voices full of excitement and the occasional giggles. I smiled at them, and they didn't hesitate to flash a big smile in return. And I immediately recognized something in their eyes. Joy. It was childlike joy. Their happiness made my heart skip with delight, and then it made my spirit take pause to question. What is it that changes us through the years? What happens in the gap between childhood and middle age? Why do so many of us find ourselves truly struggling to flash a genuine and sincere, heartfelt smile when someone greets us? Are we tired? Yes, absolutely. Are we overwhelmed and stressed? Most definitely. Does our to-do list seem daunting in every aspect of life? No doubt. But it just felt like there had to be something more to it. And then it painfully dawned on me. Life just knocks it right out of us, doesn't it? Jobs, friendship, motherhood, marriage, health, and finances. It can all be so challenging at times. Difficult and painful seasons inevitably find us all until one day we wake up and realize that we no longer feel childlike joy anymore. And worse, we resign ourselves to the fact that this is just the reality of adulthood. Welcome to the real world. Joy is reserved for the days of childhood innocence, and then life teaches you better, right? In fact, we've almost come to expect the joy-robbing blows and lows because, well, as we say it, that's just life. And sometimes I wonder what you think when you read the title of this book, A Time to Dance, Chasing Joy in Difficult Seasons. Do you think that it's possible to return to childlike joy? Or do you think that by the time we reach adulthood, we are all too defeated and possibly too broken to ever dance again? I used to think the latter. I used to think that adulthood was littered with realities that inevitably led to broken spirits and broken hearts. I grew to believe that expecting otherwise would be completely naive, resulting in a more painful, humiliating, and dramatic fall. But then in my most difficult season, when I had resigned myself to this way of life the most, Jesus stepped into my pain and spoke these very important words over my heart. Your life and your story will not be defined by this season, my child. I will not only restore your joy, but I will fill it up until your cup overflows. And he will do the same for you. I want to take a step back for a moment to that particular time in my healing journey and share a personal story with you. Remember the art journaling that I mentioned in chapter 17? I used it often in my healing when I had an emotion or thought and found myself needing to take a pause to process it and find its roots. I'll never forget one drawing in particular that seemed to relate so closely to this topic. In the drawing, I was standing next to the ocean. The sun was shining, but my body was in the shadows. I could see the sun, but I could not feel its warmth. I could hear the ocean, but I could not dip my toes into its peaceful and cool touch. You see, I had chains wrapped around my ankles that held me back. Chains that kept me literally just out of reach of everything I knew would lift my spirit. I was close enough to see it and know it was there, but too far away to truly feel it in my heart. Even more frustrating and defeating, I was held back by something that I felt helpless to identify. And how many of us can relate to this? Seeing the warmth, seeing the joy, seeing peace and happiness and delight. We know it's right there. In fact, we can feel ourselves right on the cusp, but somehow we just can't quite tap into it. We just can't seem to break free of these chains. If you feel that way today, then this chapter is written for you. Because when we find ourselves in this space, it's easy to begin to wonder if we are somehow failing. That as we journey through these chapters, we're just missing something. Or maybe it's because the damage done by someone else's choices or mistakes have chained us to this feeling of utter brokenness forever, just out of reach of experiencing all that God is pouring out. I know firsthand how our minds often work overtime to search and identify the cause of our just out of reach feelings and thoughts. We reason that if we can understand it and dissect it, then we can put a plan in place to overcome it. And though we try so hard to solve and rectify the problem of what's missing ourselves, when that doesn't work, it can be even more frustrating to our already confusing and hurt hearts. And it's times like these that it becomes painfully easy to begin to resign ourselves to the shadows. This is just how it is for me. Joy is reserved for someone else. Maybe someone else reading this very book, but it's not for me. Friends, as I write those words, I can't help but feel an ache in my heart. I too have felt the painful and powerful defeat of accepting the idea that healing and joy were too out of reach for someone like me. And let me gently warn you, the enemy is beyond satisfied when we stop right there, accepting that we are defeated and done, setting this book down, setting our journey down, and walking away. It's just not possible for me. But then there's Jesus. If you're feeling this confusion and pain today, I just invite you to open your heart to the next part of this chapter, and here's why. God's voice and his touch can identify and break through every link that holds you captive in the shadows. And the truth is that he desires nothing more than to set you free. You see, after my own painful season of peeling back the layers, trying to identify what was holding me back, I came to realize one beautiful truth that allowed me to finally find peace and rest. I didn't need to have it all figured out on my own. I just needed to take my chain to Jesus and ask him to help me sort through it little by little, piece by piece, link by link, until I was completely set free. And he met me there, right where I was, and we began the work together. Let me explain. If it seems like my story of healing and chasing joy was a step-by-step process, as we read through this book, you see the step-by-step, right? The chasing perfection, the walking through forgiveness, the learning how to heal, even if those around you are struggling in the same space. Like it was link by link by link. If it seems like my story of healing and chasing joy was a step-by-step process, that's because it really was. As I laid my chain at his feet and started praying over it, I rested in the promise that his timing and his process for healing was far better than anything I could plan for myself. And that's when he quite literally started revealing, healing, and breaking through my chain one link at a time, slowly and intricately. This went on for months, years even. Every chapter of this book was another link. And as they broke one by one, I could feel more warmth, more joy reaching my heart. And yet in his infinite wisdom, the pace remained slow. And remains slow even today, gentle enough that I can manage to face each link with him, revisiting old scars, insecurities, and things that attacked my heart without feeling overwhelmed by facing my entire chain all at once. I won't lie, I sometimes grew impatient and wanted to experience all the breakthroughs right away. Just get me to the finish line, God. But his timing was intentionally steady and unhurried as he took me through each step on the journey, releasing my shame, facing my struggles with perfectionism, giving in my fears, and on and on. We journeyed through so many things that held me back, things that I struggled to understand or overcome. And as I would feel one link break, he would lovingly reveal the next link as we walked through the work and healing together day after day. And friends, here's the truth. He is still working on my links and my healing even today. So hear my heart. You're over halfway through this book, and I'm deeply and sincerely praying for you. Praying that you are beginning to see and maybe even feel the warmth of joy on your face. But I'm also guessing that, like me, there may still be some things keeping you from experiencing the fullness of it. We all have different links, different stories, different pain, and your chain could possibly look very different than mine. Today, I just encourage you to take the chain to Jesus and ask him to help reveal it and work through it, to guide you step by step into your healing, and then trust the pace of his timing. He promises to pour out joy over each one of us, and not just a little, but cup overflowing childlike joy. And I firmly believe in the fulfillment of his promise. I am making space for the fulfillment of his promise with my hope, with my faith. The enemy would like nothing more than for us to feel exhausted and resign ourselves to the fact that joy is for someone else, someone who is less hurt or who has made less mistakes, someone whose heart is not as bruised and broken, someone that has more faith. But if we listen closely, Jesus is right there saying, trust me, I am here and I am going to see you through. So take your chain to him. His loving hand will guide you through it one step at a time. And with each step, each broken link, you'll feel warmth entering those deep and once dormant parts of your spirit and heart again. Those are his promises. I'd like to end this chapter with the same verse that we started with. Believe it to be true for your life and your heart today. Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. Ephesians 3:20. And with that, we're closing out the chapter. But I want to say one more thing. There's a verse in, I'm not going to remember where it is right now. That's okay. I've said it to you guys a million times before, and I know the verse. I just am struggling with where it's at. So here's what I'm going to say. I will drop it in the comments below. The verse says, it's a whole chapter about the power of faith, bold faith. And the verse says, they reached out, grabbed hold of his promises, and pulled them into their reality. And I just want to tie that in with this for just a moment, because at the beginning of this live, I talked about that what we believe in, what we have faith for, we create space for in our lives. So when I believe in the power of God's promises and in his faithfulness to bring his promises true, then it creates space. My faith and hope and belief in his faithfulness and his power creates space for me to reach out and say, okay, God, I'm with you in this. I believe you're going to walk me through this and to this. I believe in your power. I believe in your authority over what I'm facing. And I believe in your promise to bring me through to the fulfillment of whatever it is that God is pouring over you today, whatever that promise is. I believe in it, and I'm going to co-labor with you, and I'm going to take your hand, and I'm going to run with you into it. And that way, when the enemy comes with his lies, when he creeps in with his lies, we recognize them immediately because they are not of God's heart. They are not of his promises over your life, and we rebuke them and kick them out. We do not allow them to rent space in our heart. We rebuke them, we kick them out, right? And so in doing so, we become so focused on the love and faithfulness and character of our Father that we walk through that season of healing with him. And it's like a river that just flows through us of hope and peace and faith. No matter what we're facing, he becomes a replenishing river of strength, hope, peace, faith, and even joy. If you believe the lie that childlike joy is reserved for the innocence of youth, then you are believing a lie from the enemy. Because God says he will restore our joy to cup overflowing. God is not a God of just enough. He's not a God of it'll do. He is a God of overflowing goodness. Our wildest imagination, our biggest dreams, overflowing goodness. Don't believe the lie of the enemy. Go after it all. Run after it. Believe in what God has for you and how much it's going to bless you in that space of healing and joy and peace and all the things that he has for you. So that is my word for today on chapter 19. Thursday, we're going to dive into chapter 20, which is through his lenses. We're going to talk a lot about the difference between our lenses and God's lenses. And so I'm excited to see you guys here on Thursday, and we're going to journey through that chapter. I hope you guys are having an amazing week already. And like I said, don't forget to drop me a comment or an emoji. Let me know how your weekend went. Let me know if you enjoyed this chapter. Let me know if there's something we could pray over you for. Just leave us a comment and let us know. And I promise we're going to read and get back to you on each and every one. Have a beautiful and blessed Tuesday. I'll see you back Thursday for chapter 20.